So a group of people who work together under the same roof had a gathering under that same roof to celebrate someone's birthday, and they had a piece of cake and a glass of champagne. And that's it. Now, I'm not defending Boris Johnson here. He's not my favourite Prime Minister. He's doing terrible, in my opinion, about everything. But I have to say, this Partygate nonsense, and that's what it is, it's nonsense. It's just been dragged on and on and on by people who should be worrying about other things, quite frankly. I mean, it's not like the Downing Street lot went to a secret house party, or they went to a restaurant and flaunted lockdown rules, just like sly news presenters Kay Burley and Beth Rigby did. And by the way, how those two have the gall to stand there in front of a camera and scrutinise MPs for breaking lockdown rules is beyond me when they did just that. But that's the left for you. It's okay when they do it. I mean, I honestly couldn't give a shiny shite about Boris Johnson having a party at Downing Street. I have more pressing things to worry about. But all this is, it's political point scoring. They hate the guy. It was never about birthday cake and champagne with friends and colleagues. They hate Boris Johnson because he took us out to the EU. And so many people on the left had their gravy train, their gilt-edged megabucks gravy train by the EU cut short dead there and then, because we're no longer in the EU, that they absolutely hate the guy and they want to take him down. And this is an opportunity. And I heard it today as I watched the House of Parliament, where he gave a rather half-assed apology, which was quite funny. And all Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, could say was, this man is a liar. And everyone was trying to get him to resign. Now, I can guarantee you, every one of Labour's constituencies are suffering really badly because of the cost of living. Petrol prices are going up, food, heating, everything's going up. But they're more concerned about getting Boris Johnson sacked than they do about their own constituencies. And if I'm honest, the only MP in the Conservatives I want to see sacked is Rishi Sunak, because that guy is an absolute fucking disgrace. He could easily cut the cost of living and make people's lives easier, but he won't. Plus the fact that him and his wife are tax dodgers, and he also had a green card in the United States while he was Chancellor for a couple of months, is absolutely disgusting. The guy should be sacked and run out of town, if you ask me. So anyway, the hate on Boris Johnson on social media and the mainstream media, it's gathering pace. That's all they're talking about now. They hate the guy. And they'll do anything. They'll even lie to get him out. I'm not saying Boris Johnson isn't a liar, because he is. But that's him. He's a very, very deeply flawed human being. And maybe that's another reason why they hate him, because he's flawed. He's not like them. He fucks around. He lies. He's not perfect. He stumbles. He bumbles. He makes huge mistakes, just like the rest of us. And nowhere can this hatred and vitriol be more telling than on Twitter, the most hateful place on earth, where lefties can get away with inciting murder and violence and doxing, etc. But hopefully that'll come to an end soon, thanks to Elon Musk, but I've done that video. So do you know when lefties, during Brexit, they told these stories about they were out somewhere, say, and someone was talking about the benefits of Brexit, and then their 4-year-old daughter pipes up and says something like, well, actually, immigration, whether illegal or not, is beneficial to the UK, both economically and financially. And everyone clapped. Yeah, we've all seen it on Twitter. We've all taken a piss as well. But it's still live, folks. Take this Twitter account. Yes, I have hidden the face there. I think I've given it a more appropriate identity there, considering their politics. If you go to this person's Twitter page, it is literally anti-Tory, anti-Conservative hatred. And as you can see, she is a verified blue-tick Twitter twat, so she gets away with this. And she tells this story, which I'm going to read to you, and make of it what you will. I'm going to suggest you all take this story with a pinch of salt, because this story is like, you know that person in primary school who told huge fibs about their lives, where they tried to fit in with their peers and other kids, but you know it's all bullshit, so you just nod your head anyway. Well, this is that story, folks. This is one of them on Twitter. It's about Boris Johnson, how much she hates Boris Johnson. And, well, I'll read it to you. Make of it what you will. And let me know in the comments. I'm sure the comments are going to be quite funny. So this NPC starts off the story with, here's a little story from when I was a teacher. Oh, I tell you what, it's nearly like the beginning of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, isn't it? Anyway, Bear with me a while, it's relevant and explains what I feel about Partygate. Some of you already know that I taught for 12 years in a boys' independent school in Yorkshire. Yep, there you go, your typical middle-class, wealthy champagne socialist working in a posh boys' school where the term fees are probably in their hundreds of thousands of pounds, not what normal working-class people could afford. But she hates Boris Johnson, so she thinks she's one of us. Anyway, she continues. Some boys were richer and more privileged than others, but all of them were raised with the idea that they would amount to something someday. Well, of course they would. If they're the sons of wealthy doctors or barristers or something, I doubt very much they're going to put them in those schools, pay hundreds of thousands of pounds for them to be tutored, taught, whatever, and expect them to be on the dole for the rest of their lives, for heaven's sake. When I was a very new member of staff, I caught one of the boys in my form dropping a crisp packet in the corridor. I challenged him and asked him to pick him up. He looked at me and said, "Why? We have cleaners to do that." Already you can see where this story is going, can't you? Anyway, I'll continue. And so I put the boy in detention after school for an hour every day for a week. Ooh, that's a bit draconian, isn't it? But that's Marxist for you. They do go over the top with their punishments. Look at the old Soviet era. His father complained, saying it wasn't fair to give his son such a heavy penalty just for dropping a crisp packet. I explained to the man that the crisp packet wasn't the issue. It was why the boy had dropped it. He had thought it was okay to leave the consequences of his actions for lesser people to clean up, because he thought he was above the rules. Now, I doubt very much if this woman claims to be working in a posh, expensive, all-boys school would talk to one of the pupils' fathers like that. And if this story is true, I doubt he'd have taken that from her and he'd have taken it further, because that's what these people are like. These wealthy people. You know, you don't get to become wealthy and successful and send your kids to private schools by being nice, do you? Come on, let's be honest here. And so the boy came to detention every day after school, but he didn't go to the library to do his homework. Instead, he came to my classroom where the cleaner was starting her shift. Every day the boy made a cup of tea for the cleaner, brought it to her, then spent the rest of his hour picking up litter around the school, because there are no lesser people and he needed to know that. So she teaches him a lesson by treating him as a lesser person. I mean, dropping a crisp packet on the floor. Does that really warrant such a grueling humiliation? No, it doesn't. But she's telling this story because there's a comparison to Boris Johnson somewhere here. Anyway, I'll continue. Boris Johnson, well, there we go, doesn't know that. He thinks he's entitled to make other people pay for the things he does. He's a man who thinks people are disposable. That's why he partied while people were dying. It's not about cake. It never was. Well, I'm going to suggest if this story was true, then that punishment was never about a crisp packet. I'm going to suggest, thanks to the thread I've seen on this person's Twitter page, that it was all about being a white, wealthy, middle-class boy. And had that lad been a black kid, then she wouldn't have dared administer such a bizarre and unusual punishment to teach the lad a lesson. You see, this person's a lefty, obviously. And me personally, I'm taking this story with a huge bag of salt. Now, I wonder if this person has a similar elaborate story, so she can compare it to Keir Starmer, who also had a drink while people died. Of course she doesn't. And for those people complaining that they couldn't see friends and loved ones during the whole shenanigans, well, you complied and people still died. And I'll tell you why the Met Police fined him £50 and everyone else. It's because they have a very bad image at the moment and they need to be in there with a Twitter mob, don't they? The bloke should be left alone to govern the country. I know he's doing a shitty job, but bloody hell, this thing has dragged on now. But that's the left for you, they just won't let it go. And as I've proven to you and told you earlier, the establishment left, the MPs, they will gladly ignore ordinary citizens' real needs and concerns, such as the cost of living crisis, just so they can get this guy sacked. And everyone can like them on Twitter. That's what it's all about, folks. It's all about popularity and hate. And that's what I think. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like what I do, if you believe in free speech, because I've been demonetised, then by all means you can support my channel by buying me a beer. The link is down below. And to everyone who's done so far, I thank you from the bottom of my beer mug. And that's that. So please comment, share, subscribe. Until my next video, Roger Trout.